Fred?
Hi, Bernado. You didn't get a day off. You're here.
Me no. I was the only one that didn't get a day off. No.
As one of the leaders of the squad, maybe people from the outside will be shocked. Oh, before a Champions League match, the players are off. From the inside, how do you see that, and what's the importance of maybe resting the bodies and the minds?
We've done it in the past plenty of times. When we lost games, when we won games, when the manager felt that it was the best for the team. And with all the trips that we had this week, I think if he just thought that it would be best for us to sleep better, to stay at home one more day, to free a bit our minds, and come back tomorrow stronger and ready for the game.
Hi, Bernardo. Pep mentioned the game against Aston Villa a couple of years ago on the final day. You were obviously involved in that. Is that something you can sort of call upon, you know, in the dressing room before and tell the other guys about?
Well, this sport has taught us that a lot of things can happen in a football game, and even though the result in Madrid was really bad, we will fight. We will for sure fight until the end, knowing that it's going to be tough. The opponent is a very good one. The first result was not good. At home, a lot of things can happen, especially at home here at the Etihad, and we're going to try and create the right atmosphere for that to happen.
Bernardo, after the match last Wednesday, you all looked very kind of down, understandably. Mm-hmm. How do you sort of inject that belief back into the players that you can do this and you can create one of those memorable nights, as you say?
Well, it's never easy, especially when it's just a week, but usually after a big defeat, on the day you feel like everything is very dark, then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And you arrive the day before the game, and the atmosphere, even though this week was a really bad one for us, we know that what this team is capable of. The problem that we lacked this season was the consistency, because the level, we know that we can reach that level. The problem that we had was that we weren't able to maintain that level for the right amount of games. So if we are on it tomorrow, we know that it's possible.
You can obviously score the goals at any point in the game, Bernardo, but how important will scoring early be to get the team up and the crowd up if you are to pull this off?
It would be very important, obviously. The earlier the better. I would also say that no matter what, it can still happen, because I don't know who was it that spoke about the Aston Villa game, and we know that in football, and especially our team at home, we are capable of creating a lot of chances in a period of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Obviously, if we score earlier, it would be better. Knowing that we also need to defend well, because we cannot concede a goal. Otherwise, if we concede, the tie is over. But we are going to obviously take some risks and try to go for it.
Bernardo, just in terms of not getting to the levels as consistently as you've done in the past, what is the reason for that? But obviously the team is evolving. There's been a lot of change over the last 18 months. Some of you have won a lot of trophies, others have not won any. What is the reason that you can't just keep getting to the levels over and over again?
I think the obvious answer is that this is a transition, because if you look not long ago, if you look at the Champions League final when we won the treble, if you look at that team and you look at the team now, maybe 4 or 5 players are left. In 2 years and a half, to only have 4 or 5 or 6 players left, it's a lot of change. So to have that many change in a football club is never easy, because it's not about the talent or the quality of the players. It's about the players getting to know each other better, knowing when they play together what works better, and obviously getting the experience and the knowledge to deal especially with the bad moments. As I said, I don't know the right answer. No one knows. You might have your opinion. The manager might have his opinion. I might have my own opinion. I do believe that having so many different players in such a short term doesn't help, because from my experience, I've been here 9 years. 3 years ago, when I played with Gundogan, with Kevin, with Rodri, or with Kyle, or because we played together so many years, we knew exactly what the other player wanted, and the qualities of the other guy, the guy next to you. Right now, these young guys, they need time to adapt, playing with each other, playing together, and I think that plays obviously a major part. No excuses, because we should have done much better in some moments this season, obviously. But I do think that plays a major part.
Hi, Bernard. Can I just ask you quickly, did you mean that goal on Saturday?
No. I wouldn't. I don't want to lie to you. No, I wanted to cross to Erling Haaland.
And I know that it didn't go well in Madrid last week, but it seemed to us like you were on the front foot for the first 30 minutes. You were the better team. You had a few chances. I think you had a chance from the edge of the box. Mm-hmm. Did you see enough in that first 30 minutes to suggest that Madrid are vulnerable enough to concede the goals that you will need to go through tomorrow?
I wouldn't call them vulnerable. They beat us 3-0, so that I wouldn't use that word right now. When I got home, I was really frustrated. I wanted to watch the game, and I know that this might look a bit stupid, what I'm about to say, but when I watched back, I don't see a reason for us to be losing 3-0 that game at halftime. And the result was much worse than the performance, in my opinion. Obviously, in football, that counts zero. That counts for nothing. A lot of games that we were worse than our opponents and we also beat them, or we were much better and we didn't. Football is like that. But the reality is that the performance, especially the first half, because the second half, then the emotions, and you go on at halftime and everything looks like it's really bad when it's not that bad. And you lose a bit your minds. I know, as I said in the beginning, it might sound really stupid saying this. I don't think the performance was that bad.
Hi, Bernardo. Just away from this game for a second, I'm sure you'll have seen it like we all have, the huddle that the Chelsea players did with the referee. I just wondered what you made of that as a fellow professional in the Premier League and a club captain.
I saw a picture. I don't know the context. I don't know if they were making a speech or something. I have no clue. It looked funny, but I don't know. I don't know what that was about. It's just fun, you know.
On a more serious note, then, on the messaging that a club captain can give to his players, what will you be saying to your teammates ahead of this game?
For sure, that what I said earlier, that if you believe that in this game, the little details that make a lot of difference in football will go to our side, will be in our favor. If you look at the game in Madrid specifically, even with a terrible performance, for example, when the midfielder from Madrid tries to play out from the back and Nico Riley almost steals the ball, and Courtois with the reflexes, he makes that save. Those little things, if that ball goes in, it's a 3-1, it's different. And we have to believe that tomorrow, when Erling has a chance, he will score that one, and the ball will not hit the post or the bar. And when they have a chance, because they will run, they have an unbelievable quality and players to run and to create chances. And when they have their chances, we have to believe that our defenders will block and our keeper will save. And tomorrow will have to be our day. With that kind of belief, maybe it's going to be possible, yeah.
But Bernardo, obviously last year you went out to Real Madrid, and I think most people would say you were far the better team at the Etihad. Obviously went out on penalties. You obviously
2 years ago, yeah.
The manager was talking about the need for a perfect performance, but is the reality tomorrow as well is that you need to be lucky as well, that you need a lot of luck on your side as well as the quality performance?
I don't want to. It's difficult for me to answer that question because I don't believe a lot in luck. So I believe a lot that the reason why throughout the years we didn't manage to be more successful in this competition, maybe a little bit of luck, but it's never just luck. It's the little details that you need to get better. And the Champions League is a competition. It's a different competition. In a league, the best team wins 95% of the time. In the Champions League, the best team not necessarily wins. It's a competition about emotions, how you deal with your emotions. The little details, mainly in the boxes. How do you defend the action? How do you block that shot? How do you score your chances? And that's not luck. You need to be there. You need to do well in those actions. I do believe that we need to do really well in those little details, and Madrid is a very strong team in that.
Bernardo, you were talking about, you don't believe in luck. Looking back to the last game, or the game last week, in the first 20 minutes, obviously all those crosses come across the box, and no one's put it in. And it was sort of similar at West Ham on Saturday in the second half. Like, what do you need to do as players to be able to have a little bit more cohesion in the final third? Does it go back to what you were saying about the transition and people haven't played with each other that much?
As I said, you talk about luck and the crosses. For the balls to go in, you need to make the right movement. You need to have a player that arrives on the near post. You need to have a player for a tap in on the far post, which we scored a lot of goals. The classic one from Kevin, ball across the goal, and someone, either Raheem Sterling or Erling or Leroy Sané or Aguero, always a small tap in at the far post. Those goals look easy, but you need to make that movement to score those goals. So if you look, we had 10 crosses, but if no one does that movement, there's no point. So it's not luck. It's us needing to get better, needing to know each other better, to improve. Because if you put a player on the near post, if you put one in the penalty spot and one in the attacking the far post for that tap in that I was saying, if you start putting more numbers in the box, if you start arriving with better movements, you will score those chances for sure.
Bernardo, hello. Just continuing that theme, Erling scored, I think, 4 times in his last 14 games, and 2 of those were penalties. Would you personally be shocked if Pep left him out tomorrow evening? And do you think the dressing room would be shocked at that decision if Pep decides to go a different way just for this game?
We wouldn't be shocked with anything, because it's not our job to judge the manager's decision. He gets paid a lot of money to make those decisions, and for us as players, our job is to be ready. And we have a big squad. Anyone is ready to play. Obviously, Erling is a massive player for us, a very important player for us. And in the big games, you need those players. But we have fantastic players everywhere, and no one is irreplaceable.
So psychologically, it wouldn't be a difficult thing to deal with, a blow, if you look around the dressing room and think, oh, wait a minute, Erling's not starting against Real Madrid when we need to basically score 4 goals.
I would obviously prefer to have Erling, because he's someone that, when you have Erling on the pitch, you're closer to scoring goals, and you need goals tomorrow. We've played throughout the years. We've played without Erling when he was injured, without Kevin when he was injured for a long time. We've dealt with those situations. The big players are there for the big moments, and we definitely need them. But look, Madrid, if that was an excuse, Madrid without Mbappe, Bellingham and Rodrigo, they beat us 3-0, so that cannot be an excuse.